Welcome back to Roadside Nuggets, folks. My name is George. How is everybody doing today? Today is definitely a bit of a... Definitely came in with bangs. Bangs and explosions. I was fully ready to go live at 6, and definitely that was the time of the angels and mom, I guess, just picked to send the energy through. So definitely that's what took place. As soon as I went live, the trigger came through, and it's like, oh, there we go, and the pop goes the Weasel. So, definitely was, the angels are going to get you. There's nothing you can do to bypass the angels, to get away from them. They are going to get you. Love is going to get you. So, nobody's exempt from these transformations that we all have to go through. So, all the, triggers and things, of course, they all have to... come up for everybody and be transformed and processed. So it was a good one. It was definitely something I've been definitely over the days, one of those triggers that just slowly builds over moments, day after day after day, and then it's like that one moment is like it was enough to tip the scale, and everything goes with it. So it's like, oh, here we go. The angels are like, whee! So, definitely, heads up, triggers are afoot, and nobody is exempt. So, definitely stay steady, stay grounded, stay, centered in yourself. But yeah, mainly. So basically, these energies right now, Scorpio season's still well underway. We are at the end of October as of one more day left. And then we will be into November, which is still part of Scorpio season. However, the energies are about to take a big shift up. The team was having a conversation actually earlier today, and we were actually talking about the gates in what we call the human design chart, the gates in the human design. So with that, basically, there's a lot of the gates that, apparently astrologically getting triggered off, and a lot of it has to do with the anxiety and fear things. And I'm pretty sure Hope and Aurora will touch upon it during their live stream. So check out that. But just in a general summary sense, basically, that's kind of like the theme of what energy is being triggered, and it made a lot of sense too, because I've also been aware of what's coming in November. Very early on from the start. November 4th, and then we also have November 6th. And for those of you who are new today, November 4th is when we had the new moon in Scorpio, while we were also in Scorpio season. So there's all that extra Scorpio energy, combined. And then also plus, on the 6th of November, we have the collective, trigger of grief that's going to trigger within the collective and come up to the surface to be processed. So it made a lot of sense for us to go through a lot of the fear and anxiety and the worry and all those energies and process that and get a lot of that out the way, because it's practically impossible, for you to go through the grief if you're still in fight or flight mode. If you're still in survival mode, if you're still in just go, 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 shields up, walls, barriers, everything like that, lockdown, if you're still in that mode, there's no way. It's impossible for you to penetrate deeply enough within yourself to, trigger the grief to come up, to actually be in an open, vulnerable space, to actually allow grief to come forward and release. You have to be in that vulnerable state. If you're not vulnerable, if you got your guard up and you're fully on guard and defended, you're not going to be able to be in the space to go through grief. That's more of an energy that we will carry with us until we can find ourselves in a space where we feel safe, protected, stable, like we can open up more and we can unfold ourselves. And that's where all the deeper sorrows and grief and sadness and all those different deeper core pains really come to the surface and are released and come out, right? So totally made a lot of sense, fully resonated with Hope you shared about that. So definitely check out the Oracle ladies live stream, and definitely, I'm pretty sure they'll share about it. I'll let them know that talks about it. But basically, that's a lot of what's going on right now. It's important for us to, again, just recanting what we just stated, it's again important for us to go through a lot of our anger, a lot of the fear, the fight or flight, the survival mode, the the moment the shoe drops, you're out the door type energy. We have to be able to be brave and courageous, and be able to stand in our truth, stand our ground, in the face of opposition, in the face of fear. And that's something that, this collective, the human race, has been so deeply traumatized, programmed, and conditioned into fight or flight mode, survival of the fittest, competition, one above the other, hierarchy, patriarchy. So these are echoes that filter through everyone's consciousness on this planet, how people think, how they feel, how they perceive things. And, this is, again, it's weird. I was looking at the screen, it's totally threw me off because on here, okay, I'm just gonna look at the phone because the screen looks different on the TV. I don't know what's up with technology, and everything is going wild, especially today. It's as soon as I press start and started the stream, everything went off. I was fully set, and it was definitely angels set me up. It was good, because I'm such a, everyone has contracts, everyone has energies that they are transforming, that they are mastering, and one of mine is deep control. So definitely I am really good at, yes, being very aware and very sensitive and very observant of my surroundings, my environment, and of people around me as well. But also I have deep amounts of control. So the control is blending in and merging with what already my awareness is. So it's the ego trying to hide behind my spiritual ability. My ability to perceive is the ego is tiptoeing like a shadow behind my awareness, trickling into different events. So that was definitely, and the ego is sneaky like that. That's snake energy is, definitely the ego can manipulate, can deceive, can, go into, smoke and mirrors type of energy. And that was something that I experienced and was learning, as we were tapping into the angels and connecting, that was part of the ego filter that we learned to bypass and move around, was a frequency of smoke and mirrors, of trickery. What it looks like isn't always what it seems, and it can trick you in a lot of different ways. And so that's a lot of the energy of what my ego is very good at, a lot of ways that I've had to really just get really good at just grabbing myself, getting on myself, just immediately just following the ego wherever it's going and transform it. So it was definitely that moment where my guard was down. I was fully ready for stream. I was getting it. I was in my mood. I was yep, stream, music, let's go, press buttons, we're doing it. And I was totally wide open for the whole trigger just to go off. And the angels used that moment as soon as I pressed live. And it was this, all this energy came through, and I was this experience. I was what the fuck? And I just kind of had a pop moment. I was and I literally went from 0 to 100 in a moment, and I had to grab my energy. I had to pull myself back. I was wait a minute, let's rein it in there. And it was because all the energy is really, really supercharged, and that's what happens when we hold on to things, when things come out of observance, when we don't speak up, when we don't say things, maybe when we are pinged to say them. It builds up this intensity, definitely. And I have a very, a lot of people on this planet, I have a very high threshold, a very high energetic capacity to hold energy. And so one of the ways my ego manipulates that and misuses that is basically I will build up for a very long time about something. And a lot of times I'm busy enough and I have enough to do and focus on in a day to where I can get by without really looking at this. And it's like this massive volume will build up, but also equally on the other side, when this thing goes off, it's incredibly a lot of energy that has been stored up for a long time, and so then basically, it's like that's what's always gotten me, in the past. And I know a lot of people who have this, this energetic behavior, where we don't speak in that moment, where we don't say it on the point, or maybe, and this is also another thing too that I'm also learning a lot and maturing through too, is like, it may not be highest to express something or say something in the moment, but don't bypass that and just be like, oh, okay, well, whatever, or fuck it, or something like that. Like I had to get really good, and it's been years and years and transforming and learning through and processing this and getting myself to be like, okay, like I gotta face it. And a lot of times it isn't even just like the whole bypass, right? It's about learning how to express it. Because a lot of times it's actually a lesson for us to step up and learn how to express ourselves more, maybe in a better way, maybe in a more clear, way, so others can understand and see us and feel us, right? And to where the stubbornness and the pride, which I definitely have, or a lot of us have a lot of issues with our pride or stubbornness, and it's just like, you know what? And like my energy is so quick sometimes, like it's like I have to really like move fast, because my ego would try to like pull something, fast on me, and I'll literally just I'll cut the whole bridge off. I'll burn the entire city to the ground. And that's what my energy has been a lot in my life, where I've been so angry and so just like enraged because I've let it build up for so much that literally at the point of where the energy popped off, a lot of times in my life, it fell to ruin. It fell to massive sabotage of myself, of other people, the relationship, the connection, everything. I destroyed every trace of it, and there was definitely a lower part of me that definitely, it wanted others to understand how I felt and how hurt I was, to where I definitely took a lot of joy. And it's not real joy, it's ego fake joy. I definitely took a lot of gratification in different things and lower ego darkness out of, well, you fuck me over, I'm going to fuck you over, right? The same energy is coming straight back to you tenfold. You're going to feel this. And that was I was so wrapped up in my trauma. I was so wrapped up in my anger, in rage at life and different people, and, just the way life was, and humanity, society, 3D, everything. I had a lot of outlets. I had a lot of different avenues to point at and blame and channel that rage and energy to, and so that's where I was at, where, it wasn't slowing down enough. I never really slowed down enough to really pull back and be like, well, maybe I need to try it a different way. Maybe I need to speak up. It was like the awareness was too powerful. And I know a lot of people that suffer from anxiety and suffer from, like paranoia and stress of that nature from an environmental, area space. Definitely that's something very potent, for you, where like we get so lost in the awareness of things. We get so attached to the details of different things, where it starts to dictate the emotion or the receptors in our reactions of how it comes out and expresses, right? And this is where we have to get really aware and just really pull back and realize that, we're still in a process, and definitely for myself, I definitely feel like I have like this, this internal perspective where I really do all that I can to push myself to the full limit, regardless of whatever I'm facing. And a lot of times I can bypass my actual emotional mental state of where I'm at and just how much is already accumulated, and like the motivation. Like I'm a very consistent creature. Like I have to have consistency. That's what brings me joy, it brings me happiness, and definitely it attracts me. It's magnetic to me, is consistency, is, consistent of, and it has nothing to do with staying the same. That's a very different, understanding where 3D humanity is attached to unchanging, not wanting to change. When everything in creation changes, in the flow of creation and energy, consistency is what allows a plateau. It allows everything to sit upon it in creation. Where you or I stand right now, what we are living and breathing in, this experience, this physical planet we're standing on, there is energy that is of a consistent nature that allows that to be elongated, a long experience, right? Just as we have energies that change every moment, that can flip, that can change, that can morph, there's energies that provide a physical baseline, a foundation in reality that allows a multidimensional experience to sit on top of it and to actually experience itself. And that's what we exist in, right? So that's a lot of what, brings me peace in a lot of moments is consistency. So whenever that starts to get, disrupted in my lower and in like a lot of people's lower in their ego, it's misunderstood as, that change that's coming, which is something that we evolve with, that's something that we adore, that we are grateful for and are always asking for in our experience. When that change comes, it's almost like a threatening thing because, me, like so many of you, are so consistent that it almost feels like a threat to our process, our flow, our way of being, our way of life. And so a lot of it, especially for myself, I've had to come through, years of transforming massive resistance and even rebellion, massive energies of rebellion where like any sense of opposition, any sense of attack or anything coming at me, immediate explosive rebellion, right? And it was in efforts to divert that energy and counteract it backwards, and in a lot of ways, took me to places and frequencies I definitely did not enjoy to be in. And I have been in a lot of lower frequencies, a lot of, like, pretty much most of them, to be honest with everybody. Yeah, I've probably experienced and have been, and I've probably embodied probably most of all the lower frequencies that the ego has, right? And so as I sit here before you today, as this evolved and definitely not fully healed human being, but definitely there's so much more work to do. Definitely I know and I can tell you, and I can tell you from experience that it's possible. It is definitely possible to, heal, to transform, to evolve yourself and move into a new version of yourself to where you were 10, 20, 30 years ago. You can be so different. You can be a completely different person. But that's only possible if you actually can believe that's true. If you can allow that experience to be for yourself. And this is what captivates everybody on this planet, where they get so stuck in the linear perspective, the linear lie, of where things are so, just one way, and you have a certain time, and this is it. And what you do, you can't undo. And what you've got to play with, that's all you've got to work with life. This very limited perspective about life and living and what being human even is. And that's enough for them to last 60 plus years, and that's it. Then they're going to kick the bucket and they lived a good life. They did their job, they did their purpose, they created a generation, they have offspring, they have grandchildren. Yeah, I did a good job. Like, at what point did we lose the silver lining, like literally the higher perspective, so much to the point where we don't even have dreams or wishes anymore? We literally just settle for what's right in front of our eyes, and that's enough for us, and we are just okay with that. At what point does a human being get stressed and pushed, and to the point where we just give up on the things that we don't already have, that the things that we don't already can see, and then we're just going to settle for this? This is as far as we're going to push, because it's far too disappointing, one would say, if we push further and it doesn't work out. Why? Because you have expectations. The expectations has been a vast phenomenon within humanity's unconsciousness and the ego, and not choosing that you're worthy for those different things, for all the different experiences that are blessed and set for you, ready to come into your experience. we look at our life in such a very limited, small perspective way. Very unworthy, very, poverty consciousness, victim consciousness, such low depravity. And that's what we plaster our vision of what could be possible is based off of the experience we are currently having or what we have had before. And that's all we currently know. So that's all we are currently allowing. And now I'm not saying it's not all that's currently possible. I'm not saying that. But for the human being that is stuck in the mind and stuck in behavioral programming, which is pretty much everybody on this planet, 8 billion people, that is what we are going to project now. Because it's the only thing we're going to allow to be our point of reference for awareness, for guidance going forward, for understanding and what to do about the situation going forward. We're only going to allow what we've experienced, what our own opinions and judgments are, because we're so walled off and locked off from outer reality, truth. And we've been bypassing and denying truth for so long that just the very notion of moving back into truth and opening up and being vulnerable with it automatically puts you in a defense mode, automatically makes you resistant and stubborn, automatically, go into this space where you're trying to deflect already because it's so preconditioned within you. Why? I'll tell you why. So a lot of different things in our life are based off of what we think and believe, okay? Now, if you push that further and realize that a lot of the things that we have told ourselves are based off of not only our belief systems, but based off the things that we have been taught through, our parents, schools, religion, of course, friends, family. But also we have taught ourselves, and this is the most important point we cannot miss, okay? Since you were a child, to this very point right now, no matter what age you are, ever since you were a child and you were first conscious, you have also been teaching yourself. You have had your own thoughts. You have had your own emotions. You have had your own feelings and experiences. On top of everyone else, what they are saying, telling you, commanding you, forcing you, teaching you, all those different things, you still have you, right? You have your own teachings. And what we have taught ourselves, what we have accepted most deeply within ourselves as our own truth, that is most important and weighs the most weight. Because humanity is so programmed and forced into docile and being, pushed into fight or flight mode and fear programming. Now, the fact that we shut our feeling centers off, this is keeping us from the awareness of what's actually going on, okay? So, man, angels are so good. It's like, they love the trigger. So, basically, so this energy, especially for today, I'm going to get to the horoscope for today anyways as well. And so for moving forward, allow the triggers, allow everything to release, allow everything to come forward. It's going to be trigger, city, Triggy Central. I like that. That's got a nice ring to it. Triggy Central. I'm going to make a shirt out of that or something. It's Triggy Central up in here, bro. Basically, heads up, this energy is hot, it's coming in, it's rolling in real thick. And so basically, and this is the design of it, it is set to trigger off all the different pent-up energies within you so we can clear that. Because as you can tell, pent-up energies means that there's a lot there, which means it's taking up space. And if we can move that, whatever is holding a lot of space out, it means there's a lot more space available for the new coming in. Right, so this is all a necessary, very highest process for us all to go through. I'm very, very grateful for the push. So, horoscope for today. So, for October 30th, 2021, again, this is going to be found on horoscope.com. The Sun in Scorpio squares Saturn in Aquarius today, and Saturn represents the 3D matrix that we all are a part of. There could be instances throughout the day when you feel as though others are trying to dominate and control you. You will, the Sun, feel subdued and monitored by authority figures, Saturn. This means that problems with bosses or people who are positions of power over you could increase. Instead of taking it personally, try to understand that it's their problem, not yours. The way they treat you is a reflection of them, not you. If your boss can't find a nice way to speak to you, you might consider taking up the matter with human resources. The same applies to friends who don't treat you nicely. Don't let them bully you around. Disconnect from the negativity. On a side note, cliff note on that one paragraph that we just shared about, if your boss can't find a nice way to speak to you, you might consider taking up the matter with human. Oh, and not that part. The one before that. Instead of taking it personally, try to understand that it's their problem, not yours. The way they treat you is a reflection of them, not you. I agree. However, there is another part to that truth and awareness as well, that everything also can act as a reflection, as a mirror as well. So it's not just all the time it's their problem. We can't get stuck in that belief system or create something where we're like, oh, well, that's just you. It's your problem, No. It can also be a reflection of mirror as well. So something also, hidden inside you that's getting triggered forward, or also your own behavior that you may not externally, let's say, express or do. You keep it inside. That's a part of you that you keep internally. Someone else can also emulate that expression of you, that same energy. If they have that in them, they can actually put on that show, basically, so to speak. And they can play out a lot of the internal energy or what's going on inside that you don't let other people see or other people know. Someone else can take on the actual, like the experience of that and actually do that to you or bring you about in that same experience. And it can massively trigger you, but also it's a reflection, because even though you keep it hidden inside and you don't share or expose that part of yourself to other people to see, it does not mean that it's not real, and does not mean that creation, the angels, and God doesn't see you. Therefore, the whole mission, the whole experience of us being here on this physical planet is to evolve. Therefore, we all work with each other as divine love mirrors. We reflect. We reflect each other's energies back to each other a lot of times too. And that can help us give an outside external experience or an expression of that internal energy within ourselves, to where we can see, like, what, now I understand why that pisses me off so much, because like that is in me, that is going on inside of me somewhere, and it's a helpful way, because if it was just basically all on you, and all you could do is just work and see what you could see inside, that's a much harder road to pick, and there's no way you could fully see all of you all at once. So it's helpful to have reflectors, divine love mirrors, that will reflect the different parts of ourselves that we are in denial or that we are in refusal to accepting. They can take on that form, that reflection of us, and give us basically a show of it, and then basically cause that trigger to come to the surface so we could accept, okay, you know what, I can see where that's coming from. I can see why I got so upset, because also I had this other issue within me about this, So again, it's all a training course. It's all for learning and growing and expanding, so we can all level up and get all this junk out, all these different things. And also a different side note too with PTSD. For one, before we get back to this thing, PTSD is another big thing too. It's definitely coming up for me. It's coming up for the team as well, for a lot of people on this planet. And not even realizing, just how long you've been in PTSD, and when you start like really putting the things together and like understanding what's going on, the ego is really good at manipulation and like coming through in different ways and twisting how our feelings and others feel sometimes, and it just took me to like. I had a conversation with my lovely sister Aurora, about PTSD, and and it made a lot of sense. Actually, it pinged off a lot of different things, and it clicked in place, definitely. About basically hyper awareness, and I've always had a hyper awareness, and now this is the kicker. I've always kind of like put the hyper awareness that I've had as part of like an ability that I have, or just like a part of my senses, but I have never really attributed myself to PTSD. And like when I look at my life and look at like a lot of things that have gone on, it's like yeah, I can definitely see how a lot of my life from early on as a child could definitely be very, like connected to PTSD. But I never actually saw it as that. I never relayed that. So like everything was so self-identifying. It's taken a lot of years to like sort all that out. What I identified as that wasn't actually me. It was actually an experience. There was something going on with my body. And for a lot of you too out there, I know someone has reached out to me. A couple people have about medications and things. I was on, I was diagnosed as ADHD for well over 16 plus years until I just refused to take the pills anymore. It was something that I was forced as a child, and I was told I had to take, and basically that was an experience that was definitely awful. It was miserable. I would never want that upon anybody, ever. It is absolutely a horrible, just very medieval type experience to go through, with like literally having no control over your body and just people telling you and controlling you. Definitely is not a very fun experience for anybody. But also with this too, I feel from like different chemistry change, from people coming off so many different medications, from people that are winning off of drugs and addictions. The body has been so heavily affected. The body has been so heavily offset from its normal chemistry and the normal blueprint that the body was set at. Now all these additional additives have been added to the physical body that, one, the body can't fully process and break down. It's not even natural organic material. So the body has to now figure out what to do with it, in which it gets stalled in the physical body, which creates issues now, because now where the body is set divinely the way it is as a blueprint, when you have extra things in there in the way, it starts to push everything else out of place from where it's supposed to be in. Because now something that's not organic, it's not moving, and not supposed to be there, is now sitting in there, which takes up volume and space. So this is something important to re-heart, how density and blocks on these things, it is literally keeping that much more light out of your physical body. So, definitely, as the brain chemistry was switching and changing, coming off of medications, from being on it for so many years, nonstop, my body had to literally physically figure out and, basically figure out how to start producing different things again. Because my brain had shut off so many different things from being so dependent on pills and stuff. And now that I had forced myself, I refused to take any more, I had quit. Basically, my body had to re-alchemize itself. The brain chemistry, everything had to readjust, which sent my emotional spectrum completely wild. And everything that was unprocessed, all my trauma, my fears, my PTSD apparently, and everything like that from such a crazy, abusive, and just very dark childhood growing up, and just very, very sad, that coming forward, it's just a lot that came out with that, and that's, such an important thing just to realize that, again, that a lot of these energies, doesn't matter. There we go. The mic thing pull off. It doesn't matter how long ago they actually occurred or happened. All of this is stored within the physical body. And the team, we actually had a conversation earlier as a team, about the cellular, these different energies storing itself in the cellular part of the body. And a lot of these things, how, it takes moments for these things to resurface because of how deeply they've been pushed down within us. And because we keep ourselves as a human society so easily and widely distracted and so easily externally stimulated, that the internal part of ourselves suffers the most. And it goes on the most neglected, which all of our issues, and where a lot of people go to pharmaceuticals, a lot of people go to doctors and therapists and stuff like that about these internal, thoughts and ideas and issues and feelings and emotions and everything going on, their body problems and stuff going on, is because that part of themselves has been so massively neglected their whole life. They've spent little to no time investing within their own internal self, healing and helping their own self evolve and grow and mature. And a lot of it's been forced to external. What's going on in life? What's going on? Where are we going? What are we doing? What can I do? I'm bored. I got to do something. But not really is there a whole lot of energy being reverted back internally within the self, and actually looking and reflecting on the self and seeing the different things that we can actually improve ourselves and heal and express and move and grow to actually create a bigger and better, grander life for ourselves, right? So again, just a very good, important side note. So Mars enters Scorpio today, which echoes the overall vibe from the square between the Sun and Saturn. In fact, it could exacerbate it. Mars in Scorpio is known to complete without a hitch all the jobs, projects, and tasks it takes on. It's also a strong placement the underdog can strive and win as the weeks progress. With determination and confidence, you can use your intuition to guide you towards success without letting any of the surrounding negative energy affect you. If it does, laugh it off and power through. So again, this is really about endurance. It's really about pushing yourself through and stamina, okay? Staying as grounded as possible. Staying as grounded as possible, being as anchored and as centered within yourself as possible. It will allow yourself to move through this experience with as less turbulence as possible, more ease. It still doesn't mean that you're going to side note the angels. The angels are going to be right there, and they're going to get all the details. Everything we have to go through, all the tests, everything we need to, that is required for us to make it to the next phase of our evolution, and where all of us as a collective need to be individually, where our roles are and what we are all destined and set up for in the divine plan and the timeline. All these are being set up now, and they are being, massively pushed through. So again, everybody, definitely this energy is climaxing, it's intensifying. I shared with everybody yesterday on the live stream as well that this is going to be the start of a lot of what they call, the angels shared was called start stops, where they're getting the human physical vessel more accustomed, we're not adapting, we're evolving, right? So this is a different thing from survival mode. We're not trying to survive out of the fear or, your survival of the fittest, competition, all these different things. This is evolution. So it's a collective, build-up, a cellular DNA mutation within internally that's going externally, right? So the angels were sharing yesterday, and I shared with everyone on the stream that there's something called start stops, where literally the energy within our experience on the planet is going to continuously get bombed with very, very high climatical energies. And it's going to be short, right? And this purpose is to get the physical vessel used to being in higher and higher energies. It's going to be crazy. It would spin and send most of this collective into a panic, real survival mode, fear, fight or flight. If all of a sudden this reality just automatically upkicked the energy and everything became intense all of a sudden and didn't stop, right? It'd be too much all at once too soon. So in order to help the collective start to ease up into the higher vibrations, the entire experience on this planet is going to start getting start stops, massive blasts repeatedly of higher and higher energies, which as it comes in, the physical vessel gets hit with it. We start taking on the pressure, that energy start elevating up into higher energies. And then after a moment, then it stops and we drop, right? And then energy comes back in and we get hit again. We start moving up into higher energies, right? And then we stop, right? And then it keeps going, right? Eventually, after a certain moment, your body is going to get so used to being in a higher energy. When the energy drops, you're no longer going to drop to that same lower, boundary line you were at before. Because your physical body is acclimating. It's evolving and getting stronger and being more capable of handling this higher pressure, higher consciousness being, embodied in its vessel. So as we keep going through this fluctuation, this massive energy coming in and out, in and out, in and out, and as we bounce up and down, we will actually collectively start moving and inching higher and higher after being exposed to so much high, vibrational energy with so little time in between. Okay. And this is why it's so important, because this energy is not going to stop. And even though it seems like the calm comes, a very massive wave is coming right after it. And this is the intention, is to literally act as a massive catalyst, a launching pad for this planet to really push the collective into a higher energy. Because by the time we get to disclosure and everything starts really releasing this planet, the collective definitely needs to be in a higher vibration and consciousness to be able to handle not only the information and things that will be disclosed, but also to be able to come up with a solution moving forward, what we're going to do as a collective and as a human race, evolving and moving into 5D. What that looks like, what it feels like, what everyone's got to do, their roles, their parts, how we participate and move forward and work as a unity, as a collective. All these things matter and very, very important. So again, this is definitely something as a sign up. Oh, also I had this too. I have another. There was a channeling I found. So this is from a channeler called Kate Spreckley. So this was posted yesterday, Friday 29th. So October has been a month of major cosmic shifts and changes, which has brought a greater intensity to our process of awakening and healing. In these last few days of October, we are resolving and integrating all that we have uncovered and processed during the month. Much of our experience is now being brought to a climax as an abundance of solar energy streams and bringing flashes of insight and clarity that will help us to see our way forward. This is a time of profound personal awareness and insight as significant growth is occurring within the depths of your being. Witness what is unfolding as you break away from what is habitual. Consider all that you have come to realize and honor the cycles of death and rebirth in your life. Recognize that your sense of identity is shifting from being motivated by fear and the instinctual drive for survival to being motivated by the love and wisdom of your soul. Welcome this love and wisdom while being open to the currents of sudden change. Know that by trusting your innate sense of direction and guidance, you will find your way. Definitely this is, I want to read that last part. This is a time of profound personal awareness and insight as significant growth is occurring within the depths of your being. Witness what is unfolding as you break away from what is habitual. Consider all that you have to come to realize and honor the cycles of death and rebirth in your life. Recognize that your sense of identity is shifting from being motivated by fear and the instinctual drive for survival to being motivated by the love and wisdom of your soul. I've made this point of reference quite a few times in the last year, I feel, where a lot of the, humanity has been so programmed and conditioned to, respond and react out of fear, right? And a lot of times, people they're related to sports, they'll use this no pain, no gain. They kind of accommodates the use of the word pain and just the meaning of that as if it's something good, as if it means something powerful or makes you stronger through the pain or the fear and all that. And it's a total hijack of the energy. And where love, respect, and nurturing and support would completely lift a whole collective, where we have a whole collective that's completely been trained basically to move and respond as traumatized victims, because most of the collective is traumatized and abused. So as the fear comes in, the collective responds. We start to react and move, start doing things, right? And that's where's you tell people oh, well, the sun is shining, everything's grand right now, everything's absolutely beautiful. But in about half a year, we'll have an apocalypse and everything like that. It might be more or less of a reaction and a immediate response, everything like that. But if you tell something oh, well, this fire's going on and this and that and earthquakes and this and that, people start freaking out. They're oh my god, immediately start going crazy because that's what they have been programmed and conditioned out of their trauma now, just being gaslit so much in life that as soon as that energy comes in, they move. Comes in, they move. They come in, they look. That's what they move off of. That's what motivates a lot of people on this planet is fear, right? And I definitely have had these, these energies myself as well, so I know it's a personal, internal energy too, where a lot of us use fear. We use intimidation. We use, different things of anxiety, stress against ourselves to actually motivate ourselves to get ourselves to do something. We literally put ourselves in a state of fear, a state of panic or stress, just so we will build up the actual, we'll get our balls and actually do it. Where we couldn't do it before. We didn't feel motivated before, but in a state of panic or paranoia or stress, that's where a lot of us will, procrastinate And we'll put things off for so long, and then the heat of the moment, everything is coming down. It's like only a certain amount of moments left to do it. And it's like, that's the moment. And like, that's where we'll get it all done. We'll follow through and everything like that. It's like that energy. We're literally punishing ourselves. We're allowing ourselves to be consistently gaslit, and we're doing it through our own actions and setting our own self up to have that kind of experience to put ourselves back in the same trauma. It's crazy, isn't it? The ego is absolutely crazy. Okay, so let's draw cards before we end the stream today. So I'm going to draw a unicorn card and an animal card. Oh, and then also thank you, Angels, for your heart of me. So not tomorrow, Monday. So Monday, November 1st, we will have a special event on Telegram. It's going to be a lot like what we just did yesterday. So those of you who were here yesterday for the Oracle Tap-In Day, that a lot of that is going to take place again tomorrow. This will only be on Telegram, okay? So those of you who don't have a Telegram account, this will probably be motivation to get a Telegram account so you can join and participate and be a part of the event. It will take place probably later than live stream time in the afternoon at 6 p.m. Eastern time. It'll probably be around 8 p.m. Eastern time. Don't know yet. We will get a flyer and advertisement out for it later this evening tonight for you all to see and be aware of that. But again, like the Oracle Tap-In, a lot of what happened yesterday, that will happen again on Monday. So definitely get excited for that. We will let you all know, send a flyer out for that. It's going to be really, really fun. And I know a lot of you, there are some people on Telegram that did not get to go. We ran out of time. We went over 2.5 hours on stream. So those of you who did not get to participate before and still want to have a reading and things like that, definitely, show up Monday, at the time when we, send out the pamphlet, and you'll be able to get your reading then at that point in time. So yeah. That's fun. So no sad faces. Everyone can still have a reading. We can all still be happy and go home. So that'll be on Monday. I will get a flyer out and post it everywhere for everyone to see tonight. And yeah, it's going to be really fun. It's just going to be on Telegram, though. It won't be on Facebook or YouTube. It will just be Telegram. Oh, I love it. All right, so that was the animal card. And then the unicorn card. Oh, and then by the way, yesterday, I definitely have gone back and read a lot of the comments from yesterday on Facebook and everything like that. So thank you, everyone, for those who commented and sent me messages. I'm glad everyone enjoyed themselves. It was definitely a great honor to do that. I had so much fun. Definitely looking forward to do something like that again. Of course, we will be doing that on Monday, but definitely just hosting different events like that where everyone can just really get very deep, insightful things and experiences, and we can all just together heal and just be in a space of love and respect and honor and support of each other. It's really healing and beautiful, and it's definitely it's my passion. And it is a passion for so many of us here who are humanitarians. So, definitely thank you all for joining and participating and opening up and receiving definitely everything that came through and that was shared. And I'm very grateful and happy that it hit the mark and it resonated with all of you, and you all received a lot of insights and awareness for yourself and better clarified things so you can move forward and get stronger and heal yourself and empower yourself, because you are all amazing, strong, divine love beings, and you are children of God. So there's nothing less than that. Okay. So, what's the card? They want this card. Okay. All right. So we're going with the animal card first, number 65. So it's going to be the whale spirit. Trust. Woo. Confirm. Trust the great mystery. Can you see that? There we go. Trust the great mystery. All right. So number 65. So trust the great mystery. Oracle message. Whale spirit is an ancient creature who was here at the beginning of time and who has been seen everything, felt everything, and heard everything that has ever transpired on this planet. In the hidden realms where all things must gather first before manifesting into form, Whale Spirit is the keeper, singing the soul of the whole world from the deepest waters to the coldest seas. When the Whale Spirit appears, it is a reharder that there is a great mystery that you must accept without intellectually trying to understand it. Some things cannot be known by the mind, only experienced through the heart, through intuition, and through the peripheral senses that part the invisible veils, separating the invisible world from the great manifesting consciousness in the hidden realms. Now is the time for you to immerse yourself in the great mystery of spirit, and to trust that within the invisible, what you can't see now are the seeds of your intentions, being tended by the angels. Certainty is not offered to you right now. You are being asked to trust the process of co-creation. Well, Spirit rehearts you that your primary reality is not that of the material world, but that of the realm of spirit, from which the essence of your dreams and desires take shape before arriving as a specific form. You must trust absolutely that what will come will be for the highest good. Stay in your present moment, awareness, and allow the hidden realms to hold your intentions safely until it is time for them to manifest in the realm of form. Let go, for you will not be left behind. Some things take longer than others to arrive. So beautiful. Thank you, angels, for that one. And then the next card. So the unicorn card is get the fuck outside, move your ass. And the back of the card says your body is pissed at you. So definitely big hellos to self-care. Getting yourself outside, getting in the sun, allowing yourself to feel the air, breathe some fresh air, open the windows, get things moving, turn a fan on, move that dense stagnant air out the way. Getting yourself moving, stretching, flexing, working out a little bit. Definitely being outside in nature, being around animals is really good. For those of you who don't have pets, definitely encourage you to go to, just go to a park or something like that, or go out to like a nature reserve. They have animals out there, but definitely just being in an environment that has animals and trees and different plants and stuff like that, it's so healing for your body, and you will come away so refreshed. Doesn't even really matter if you're that present and that connected, and just tapping into the trees and talking to the plants and stuff like that. Doesn't even matter. Like just you being out there and breathing in that air and bringing around that space in a higher vibrational, clear, environment, your body will automatically start to decompress. It'll automatically start to feel more safer, more stable, more at home, and it will allow different layers of yourself to start to unwind and release and process. And the whole time you're in a high state, you're just like in awe, you're just kind of just admiring and taking in the scenery and the nature, but the whole time your physical body is actually able to open up more and process as much energy as it can before you move away from that scenery, and then you start to clamp down on resistance because you're triggered now, and wherever you're doing and wherever you're at. So it's important to get yourself outside, break the cycle, change the environment, change the scenery. If something's not working, switch it up, change it around, do something different. But don't keep being consistent doing the same thing you're doing, because that's insanity, right? We've learned from that. So, I love every single last one of you. Definitely, drink lots of water, be aware of the triggers and everything coming through today and what's happening. Keep processing, keep allowing the flow, and definitely if it gets you, it's okay. Forgive yourself, let it go. Allow the process, allow it to flow through, okay? If you gotta grab yourself real quick, pull yourself back, like, wait, hold up, check yourself, gauge, all right, let's get back to the heart, let's get back to breathing, let's get back to love, okay? Because love is all that matters. And that's the only energy I personally want to be in, is love. So I know, definitely for everyone else, it feels the best. So, do all you can to stay in love, get back to love. If you fall off the horse, it's all good. And, the less shit you give yourself, the faster the travel will be to get back on that saddle. So I love you all. Take care of yourself. We will be live tomorrow morning at 6 a.m. Mountain Time and 8 a.m. Eastern Time for morning live stream with Buddha and Jerry. And then also there will be a late evening podcast tonight, early morning with Silver Lining with Georgie Boy here. So I love you all. Take care of yourselves, and we will see you all tomorrow. Wait, no, not. I think I forgot something. For sure, I forgot something. No. You guys, I was gonna tell you guys about the whole Telegram thing on Monday, but I already told you guys. So yeah, just to re-harder on that. Maybe I have to re-hard everybody. Telegram Monday, we will get a flyer out for everybody, so look out for that Monday. No time specified yet, but that will be a lot of what happened yesterday with the Oracle tap-in. Just everybody who wanted to volunteer, participate, that will be going on as well in another day and a half. So if you did not get to participate, if you didn't get, if you didn't make the list that I had, and it was a long list, then basically the opportunity will come up on Telegram on Monday. For those of you who don't have a Telegram account, this will only be aired on Telegram. This will not be aired on Facebook and YouTube like the other stream will be. This will only be solely Telegram, so Telegram Live. So if you don't have an account, please get an account so you can participate and be a part of that process, okay? Beautiful. I love you all. Take care of yourself. Enjoy your beautiful night, and we will see each other tomorrow evening. All right. Love you. Take care. I'm